Okay, let's start with today's lesson. So good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for being on time. I hope you are doing great. In the same fashion, I hope you had a great weekend. So today we start our second week of classes. A quick reminder, we have classes today, Monday, tomorrow, Tuesday. We will not have classes on Wednesday, neither on Thursday, because, well, we have important festivities here, and they are mainly done at night. And so we will retake with classes on Friday. Then next week, we will have classes 2 more days, that is to say, Monday and Tuesday, and that'll be all. Okay, so we are 1 week, just 1 week to go, and that's it. Okay, now remember, on Tuesday, next Tuesday, that's December the 13th, final day of classes, your first exam will be administered, which covers units 1, 2, and 3. You started with unit 3 today with Professor Laura. And on the 12th of December, which is next Monday, class number 9, it's the submission of your first project advance. Please remember to work on this activity. You're working in pairs, and you have to choose a sport and talked about it. I mean, that's the first project advance. And yeah, that's it. Important things to remember and to consider. Also, please remember to work Moodle. Okay, Moodle is important. It will help you with the preparation for exams, and you will learn some different aspects there to be careful with Moodle, however, because it is highly sensitive to capitalization mistakes, to typos, to special character uses, which is like spelling, and so on and so forth. Good. So in today's lesson, you were working on Unit 3 about daily routines and jobs, and also there was a reading about short sleepers and long sleepers, and you work on the vocabulary and daily routine. Now we will continue with the next 2 pages, that is to say pages 26 and 27. We're going to be dealing with, okay, we're going to be dealing with should, shouldn't, can, can't, have to, don't have to, which are some modal verbs and semi-modals. And we also have some information about an unusual job. There is an interesting activity there. Okay. Now, before we continue with the next 2 pages, just to complement the first session of today's classes, there is a question I'd like to ask you. Do you think that taking a nap is good or bad for your health? Do you think that taking a nap is good or bad
It's
for your
good,
health?
teacher. It's
Okay,
good.
okay. But here is one more question. How often do you take naps? And for how long? Good. I will give you 2 minutes, okay? These are simple questions. Some of you already answered, but I want you to please take 2 minutes to answer these 2 questions. Do you think that taking a nap is good or bad for your health? Why? I forgot to include why. Yeah, that's a magical question. And how often do you take naps and for how long? Okay, 2 minutes, and then we will be listening to each other. All right, let's listen to you. So, Andres Correa, let's start with you.
Okay, teacher, about the question, I think that taking a nap is good because it helps to rest the body from daily activities. And every day I take a nap after uh, had a lunch for half an hour approximately.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. That's enough. Yes, because some people, like in my case, sometimes I take
2 hours?
no, 2 hours is not. No, I would say like maybe 4 hours, 3 hours.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a while
too
nap.
much.
That's why sometimes I don't like to take naps because I fall into deep coma. It's not even a nap, it's deep coma. Great, Andres. Perfect. Thank you very much. Andres Corredor, it's your turn. Let's listen to you, please.
Yes, teacher. I can see the question.
It's in the chat. I just typed it again. La volví a escribir
Okay.
in the chat. Don't worry. I'll ask someone else. Andres Delgado, let's listen to you, please.
I think so taking a nap is good for health, and because it helps you relax, helps you concentrate, and usually sleep and 20 and 30 minutes when I can.
Okay, Andres, thank you very much for your participation. Carlos, let's try with you, please.
Yes, teacher. I think that taking a nap is good for my health because you can relaxing for 1 moment and next the activities in the afternoon, for example. I don't have a nap easily because in my university I don't have a place for do it.
Okay, Carlos, thank you very much for your participation. Now let's try with Cindy. Please, let's listen to you.
Yes, teacher. For me, it's good because after having the lunch, I'm usually too tired. Then I have enough for 20 or 25 minutes and I can work again. I want reading. Then I need me concentrate. Yes.
Concentrate. Okay. Great, Cindy. Thank you very much for your participation. Now let's listen to Elkin. Please, let's try with you.
Okay, and I think that taking a nap is really important for me and help me to be more healthier and when I take a short break of my daily activities and I stay focus more. And how often I take naps twice a day, and the first nap in the morning after lunch. Okay, after lunch is one, and after breakfast, and around 9 to 10, when I feel something tired, I take a nap. When I finish my lunch and I take a nap, excuse me, and around 2 or 3 o'clock.
Okay, Elkin, thank you very much for your participation. Now let's try with Jeanette, please.
Yes, teacher. For me, it's good because sometimes there are too many things to do in one day, and we need a short break to continue activities. I take a nap once or twice a week for half an hour.
Okay, Jeanette, thank you very much. Now let's try with Jean-Claude, please.
Hello, teacher.
Hello.
Naps are good for health because they help us relax our mind and body, especially when we are stressed or overloaded with work and stress. I think that 30 minutes for a nap is fine.
Okay, Jean-Claude, great. Thank you very much for your participation. Now let's try with Gerson, please. Let's listen to you.
Okay, I think to taking a nap is good for my health because I recover energy to continue my work without exceed 50 minutes too much.
Okay, Gerson, perfect. Thanks a lot for your participation. Johan, let's listen to you, please.
Hi, teacher. I think that taking a nap is good for me, for my head, because I feel energetic after of this. I 4 times in the week, and I take a nap for 20 minutes.
Okay, Johan, thank you very much for your participation. Now let's try with Jose, please, let's listen to you.
Hello. I think it can be healthy, but in my case, sleeping makes me very lazy. In that case, I avoid taking naps with this.
Okay, Jose, thank you very much. Yeah, it's same thing in my case, you know. That's why I don't like to take naps, because then I would feel really, really tired and lazy. So I prefer not to take them unless I have to, because there are some times when I cannot sleep because I'm busy working and studying. So the next day I have to definitely take a nap to recover some energies. Great. Thank you very much, Jose. Johan, your microphone is on.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, great. There you go. Thank you. Now, let's see who's next. Julian, let's try with you, please.
Okay. Yes, it's good because we need one or couple rest in the daily routine. And do we not feel tired? I have naps 2 or 3 days in week. I like day for 20 minutes, max 1 hour.
Okay, Julian, thanks a lot for your cooperation. Now let's try with Julius. Let's listen to you, please.
I think that taking a nap is good, but if only are 30 minutes, because for me, if it's more than 30 minutes, I wake up with a headache, and I already take nap.
Okay, Julia, thank you very much for your participation. Yeah, sometimes, it's not like a really good idea to take naps, because then when you wake up, you get a headache or even a migraine. because of some things that we are going to consider after we finish with this first activity. Okay, good. Thank you very much for your participation, Juliet. Now let's try with Kainer. You're next, please.
For my health, I think is good because taking a nap is really important for my health because I am very busy person and I need rest because I really tired in this moment, and I usually have a nap after lunch between 15 or 30 minutes.
Okay, Kainer, thank you very much for your participation. Now, all of you have said, well, the people who have participated up to this point have said that you sleep like for 15, 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, don't worry. I haven't, no me he olvidado de ustedes, no se preocupen. Es un comentario ahí. And I was saying that it's curious that most of you have said 15, 20, 30 minutes, but then I will continue with the comment at the end. Let's try with Lisette. Please, let's listen to you.
Okay. I think that taking a nap is good for the health when you are tired and you need to get energy, because we need to stop when our body is tired, and sleep will improve the activities we will doing during the day. And I sometimes take naps for about 40 minutes or 1 hour when I am really tired and I feel that I can't continue with my activities. And it usually happens at 3 or 4 p.m. But if I can handle it, I just take a cup of coffee and it helps me.
Okay, Lisette, thank you very much. Yeah, that's a very good trick, you know. Coffee, caffeine, it helps you with concentration and it gives you somehow energy in case you cannot sleep. So thank you, Lisette, very much for your participation. Mabili, it's your turn, please.
I believe a nap is necessary and important for my health because I feel that the nap improve my mood, reduce fatigue, and relax me. And I usually take a nap.
Okay, Mabeli, thank you very much for your participation. Marian, it's your turn. Let's listen to you.
For me, they are good. People can relax for a moment and they continue with their activities without like feeling lazy. I don't take them very over often, but they are usually for an hour.
Okay, Marian, thanks a lot for your participation. Silvia, your turn. Let's listen to you, please.
Yes, teacher. Okay. I think take a nap is good because it help us to recharge our battery. And every day I take a nap after lunch for 3 hours because when I lunch I feel so exhausted and I need recharge my battery.
Okay, so you're my people, yeah? Tú eres de los míos. We
Yes.
sleep for 3 or 4 hours in the
Yes.
afternoon. Okay, great. Yeah, normally when we, after meals, but especially after lunch, there is a process there that happens with our organisms that makes us sleepy. I do not remember the name of the process in this moment, but yet it is very commonplace for us to feel sleepy during after a meal. I think it's something related to the digestion process itself, but also something about oxygen concentration and the blood moving in your bowels, or I think something like that. Right now, I don't remember, to be honest, but it's an interesting process. I was reading about it the other day. Thank you, Silvia, for your participation. Yesid, it's your turn. Let's try with you, please.
Hi, teacher. Hey, teacher, I
Hi.
think that taking a nap is necessary for my health because this recharges my energies, my concentration, my focus. I usually take one nap for 12, 20 minutes every day.
Okay, Yesid, thanks a lot for your participation. Good. Okay, everybody. So yeah, and I say we because I take naps too. However, I think I'm not gonna take naps again unless it's extremely necessary, because believe me, I am a wild napper. Okay, I am a wild napper. So my naps would include 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and 6 hours. Like I'm like a bear in hibernation. But yeah, so sometimes we have to make a stop during the day. It is true that naps recharge our energies, they recharge our batteries, and they help us to continue with the day, because sometimes days are very, very long, especially if you are working like if you have to wake up like at 3, 4 in the morning, and then you go to bed like 11, midnight. That's a really, really heavy stuff that we're talking about. So naps are good. That's true. But at the same time, naps are not good. And it all depends on the time that you devote for a nap. Okay, it's not me, it's research, it's science. We're about to watch 2 videos about this. It's a doctor in neuropsychology from the University of Berkeley, if I'm not mistaken, and he's a scientist, so he knows about this. Now, what I wanted to say was like, I was thinking, oh my God, these people are perfect. These people sleep 15 to 30 minutes maximum naps. How possible is that? What's the key? What's the secret? Because for me, that's impossible, you know? It's like, this is how I set the alarm. Imagine that it is 2 p.m. in the afternoon, yeah? And I want to take a nap for, say, 30 minutes. But in order to take a nap for 30 minutes, I have to consider the time that I'm going to need in order to fall asleep. Yeah, which sometimes takes me 5 minutes, sometimes less than 5 minutes, sometimes it takes me up to 30 minutes. So normally, if I want to take a 30-minute nap, I set the alarm for an hour after, yeah, because I always consider the time that I need in order to fall asleep. And in order for my mind and for my brain to go into the different levels of sleep, because we have different levels of sleep. Like a very superficial narrow sleep and deep sleep, and we have the rapid eye movement. That's REM. Okay, rapid eye movement. That's when the eyes are moving like this. If you pay attention to babies, that's a very important phase of sleep, you know. So when we sleep, there are different phases. The REM phase, that's rapid eye movement, is one of the most important ones. Normally, during REM is when we dream. Okay. Yeah, but I can, you know, it's like depending on how tired I am. Because if I am tired, really, really tired, like today, I mean, in the afternoon, it only took me less than 5 minutes to fall asleep. And then I woke up and I was scared because I thought that I had slept through the afternoon. But then I checked the cell phone and I had only slept for 15 minutes. So I was like, oh, I still can't sleep for 15 minutes. And then I continue sleeping. Doesn't it happen to you? Doesn't it happen to you, for example, in the middle of the night, that you wake up and you're like, oh, ¿qué hora es? Ya va a ser hora de levantarme. And you go and check the cell phone. Yeah, and it's like you have been asleep like for maybe 2 hours y apenas han dormido como 2 horas y les quedan como otras 4 horas para mí. Like, oh, it was one of the best feelings ever. Thank you. I will continue sleeping. Well, it's one of the best sensations ever. But yeah, it's difficult sometimes for me to get some sleep very quickly. Okay, yes, there are different strategies. There are different things that we can do. Like, for example, planning it in advance. Happiness. Okay, it's like the movie in the pursuit of the happiness. This tiny moment of my life, this tiny, mini, tiny moment of my life is what I call happiness. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now let's continue with the videos. Okay. Now the first video, it's about taking naps. Are they good? Are they bad for your health? Let's find out. Oh my God, what happened to the video? I have the other one here. Give me just a second. I mean, there are lots of videos there, but there is one in particular. Now I can't seem to find it. Why not? Well, this is like a new version of the video. Give me a second. I'm gonna try to find the original. Just a second, please. That's weird. Just a sec, please. No, I think they removed it from YouTube or they modified it. I'll try once again. I found it. And it was there all the time. I just didn't notice that there was a lady there. Okay, yeah, this is the one. So here's a video. We will find out whether taking a nap is actually good or bad for your health. I hope you like the video.
My name is Matthew Walker. I am a professor of neuroscience and psychology at the University of California, Berkeley, and I am the author of the book, Why We Sleep. Should we actually be taking naps during the day? Well, we certainly know from evidence in my own sleep center and that of many other scientists that naps can give you benefits for both your brain and your body. But naps can actually be a double-edged sword because whilst we're awake during the day, we're building up sleepiness or sleep pressure so that when you try to fall asleep at night, you'll fall asleep quickly and then you'll stay asleep. And when we sleep, we actually release that sleepiness, almost like a valve on a pressure cooker, so that we wake up the next morning feeling refreshed. So if you take a nap during the day, especially if you take it too late in the afternoon, you will actually release some of that sleepiness and it will make it that much more difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep soundly throughout the night. So the advice would be, if you don't struggle with your sleep and you can nap regularly, then naps are just fine. But if you do find it difficult to fall asleep or stay asleep at night, then you should avoid naps and try and build up that healthy sleepiness in the evening. The ideal nap depends on what you actually want from that nap. Different stages of sleep actually give you different types of brain and body benefits. But if you want to avoid that grogginess that you can often have after a long sleep, then you should perhaps avoid naps that are longer than maybe 40 or 50 minutes in length. You should also try to avoid naps late in the afternoon so that you wake up at least after you finish the nap and still have enough time to build up that sleepiness, that sleep pressure, so that you can get to sleep in the evening. And the answer, unfortunately, is no. Sleep is actually not like the bank. You can't accumulate a debt and then hope to pay it off at some later point in time. So sleep is an all or nothing event in that sense. So you can't short sleep during the week and then try to binge and oversleep at the weekend. So if I were to take a human being and deprive them of sleep for one night so that they've lost 8 hours of sleep, and then I give them all of the recovery sleep that they want on a second, a third, even a fourth night, they do sleep longer, but they never get back that full 8 hours that they've lost. And we can ask then, why isn't there some kind of a credit system in the brain? Why don't we have a cell that can actually store up that sleep? Because there is precedent for this. We actually have a storage system for calories within the body, and they're called fat cells, because there was a time during the evolutionary process where we had feast and where we had famine. And when we had feast, we would store that caloric energy in fat cells so that when we went into a debt during that caloric famine, we could actually survive. Human beings are the only species that deliberately deprive themselves of sleep for no apparent reason. And that means that Mother Nature has never had to face the challenge of sleep deprivation during the course of evolution, and therefore she's never had to come up with a safety net mechanism that overcomes a sleep debt.
Okay, there you go. So they can be good or they can be bad for your health, considering the aspects that Dr. and Professor Matthew Walker, psychologist and neuropsychologist, has found out in his research. Now, to finish with this part, there is one more video that I'd like you to watch. I mean, I know that we live in an interesting era, in an interesting epoch. We're living interesting times, but it is difficult for us to sleep sometimes. Sometimes we only sleep 3 hours, 4 hours. When we are lucky enough, we maybe get to sleep 6 hours most. But well, we need to find some time to sleep, okay? Because watch the video.
My name is Matthew Walker. I am a professor of neuroscience and psychology at the University of California, Berkeley, and I am the author of the book, Why We Sleep. We certainly know that a lack of sleep will actually prevent your brain from being able to initially make new memories. So it's almost as though without sleep, the memory inbox of the brain shuts down and you can't commit new experiences to memory. So those new incoming informational emails are just bounced and you end up feeling as though you're amnesic. You can't essentially make and create those new memories. We also know that a lack of sleep will lead to an increased development of a toxic protein in the brain that is called beta amyloid, and that is associated with Alzheimer's disease, because it is during deep sleep at night when a sewage system within the brain actually kicks into high gear and it starts to wash away this toxic protein, beta amyloid. So if you're not getting enough sleep each and every night, more of that Alzheimer's related protein will build up. The more protein that builds up, the greater your risk of going on to develop dementia in later life. What are the effects of sleep deprivation on the body? Well, there are many different effects. Firstly, we know that sleep deprivation affects the reproductive system. We know that men who are sleeping just 5 to 6 hours a night have a level of testosterone which is that of someone 10 years their senior. So a lack of sleep will age you by almost a decade in terms of that aspect of virility and wellness. We also know that a lack of sleep impacts your immune system. So after just one night of 4 to 5 hours of sleep, there is a 70% reduction in critical anti-cancer fighting immune cells called natural killer cells. And that's the reason that we know that short sleep duration predicts your risk for developing numerous forms of cancer. And that list currently includes cancer of the bowel, cancer of the prostate, as well as cancer of the breast. In fact, the link between a lack of sleep and cancer is now so strong that recently the World Health Organization decided to classify any form of nighttime shift work as a probable carcinogen. So in other words, jobs that may induce cancer because of a disruption of your sleep-wake rhythms. We also know that a lack of sleep impacts your cardiovascular system, because it is during deep sleep at night that you receive this most wonderful form of effectively blood pressure medication. Your heart rate drops, your blood pressure goes down. If you're not getting sufficient sleep, you're not getting that reboot of the cardiovascular system. So your blood pressure rises. You have, if you're getting 6 hours of sleep or less, a 200% increased risk of having a fatal heart attack or a stroke in your lifetime. There is a global experiment that is performed on 1.6 billion people twice a year, and it's called daylight savings time. And we know that in the spring, when we lose 1 hour of sleep, we see a subsequent 24% increase in heart attacks the following day. Another question perhaps is, what is the recycle rate of a human being? How long can we actually last without sleep before we start to see declines in your brain function or even impairments within your body? And the answer seems to be about 16 hours of wakefulness. Once you get past 16 hours of being awake, that's when we start to see mental deterioration and physiological deterioration in the body. We know that after you've been awake for 19 or 20 hours, your mental capacity is so impaired that you would be as deficient as someone who is legally drunk behind the wheel of a car. So if you're to ask me what is the recycle rate of a human being, it does seem to be about 16 hours, and we need about 8 hours of sleep to repair the damage of wakefulness. Wakefulness essentially is low-level brain damage.
Okay, there you go. So in conclusion, naps are good and bad for your health depending on how much you sleep, and definitely sleeping is fundamental for having good quality of life. Now, let's continue with, thank you once again, everybody, for having participated. These are some important aspects. It's science, figures, statistics, research, and so on and so forth. Yeah, we gotta pay attention to. Now, to continue with the next part of today's lesson, I'm going to be explaining these different modal verbs and semi-modal verbs. They are all used for different purposes, which we are about to study in this section of the class. And then I think we have the time to watch another interesting video. This video is about unusual jobs in the world. Yeah, sure thing. My pleasure. That's the whole idea, that we can learn a little bit about everything in these classes, not just English, but also about like neuroscience, psychology, and the other things we have been discussing. Great. So modal verbs and semi-modal verbs. Okay. All in all, modal verbs are a type of auxiliary verbs. Okay. That being said, we can claim that they go along with main verbs in the sentence. There are different modal verbs and semi-modal verbs in English, and they serve different purposes. Let's see some of them. So let's start with should and shouldn't. We use both should and shouldn't to talk about those things we consider are a good idea to do or not. Normally, we use this modal verb in order to ask for and give advice in different situations, scenarios, or circumstances, right? So I'm going to give you some examples using some different scenarios, okay, based on conversation. So first conversation, A says, oh my, I have got a terrible headache. I don't know what to do. Okay, and then B says, I think you should take a pill, a painkiller, and try to rest a bit. You know, you shouldn't study. You shouldn't continue studying in this moment. If the headache continues, then you should go to the doctor. Should go to the doctor. Okay, so here we have some examples. Should take a painkiller, shouldn't continue studying, should go to the doctor. So as I told you before, modal verbs and semi-modal verbs are like auxiliary verbs. They go along with the main verb in a sentence. They accompany the main verbs in sentences, and they serve different purposes. In this case, we use should and shouldn't to ask for and give advice in different situations. Here is another situation. A says, I am failing the semester. I don't know what to do. I mean, I am always studying, but I always get Fs in the exams. Okay, and B says, you should try different strategies then. Okay, you should try different strategies then. You shouldn't continue doing what you have been doing, because maybe it isn't working. Okay, so what is more, I think you should have a word with your teachers to find a solution together. Yeah, for example, so I'm failing the semester, I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm always studying, but I always get Fs in the exams. And so the friend says, you should try different strategies then. You shouldn't continue doing what you have been doing because maybe it isn't working. What is more, I think you should have a word with your teachers to find a solution together. So again, we can see how person B is giving advice to person A in this situation where person A is failing the semester, okay? So should and should, the equivalent in Spanish would be debería or no debería, okay? So we use this modal verb to talk, to ask for and give advice in different situations. So that's the first modal verb. And these 2 pages, we're not going to continue with can, can't, have to, and don't have to. Now can and can't. Okay, can and can't. So this modal verb is used to talk about present ability and to ask for permission and somehow prohibition too. Here are some examples for present ability. I can play the guitar. Mike can climb trees. Liz can speak 4 languages. Lauren can't swim well, but she can run fast. Okay, now these examples here tell us about present ability. What's present ability? Well, I am skilled enough so as to do something. In this case, I am skilled enough so as to play the guitar, so I can play the guitar. Mike is skilled enough so as to climb trees, so Mike can climb trees. Liz is a very intelligent student, and she has developed her linguistic intelligence more than others. So she has the ability to speak 4 different languages. So Liz can speak 4 different languages. And Lauren, well, she's not a good swimmer. However, she's a good runner. So she can't swim well, but she can run fast. Okay, so this one expresses present ability. And again, it accompanies the main verb in the sentence. Notice that the main verb is not conjugated. Yeah. So can and can't, the equivalent in Spanish would be poder or no poder, right? The habilidad de hacer algo, to be skilled enough so as to do something. Now, it is all used for permission. However, it is not so polite to ask questions with can. Instead, you can use others, but we're not gonna go into that. So here's the situation. Okay, so you are A. Mom, ustedes son A. Listo. Todos ustedes son A. Mom, can I go to the party, please? And then B is mom. Okay, so no. Así, con punto al final y todo. No. A, play. Why not? and B, because. And then you are like very insistent, you know, but why? And so A says, B says, because I'm your mother. And so A says, come on, mom, please. And she's like, ask your father. And so C is your father. Yeah. So A, Dad, can I go to the party, please? And B says, no. And you're like, why? And B says, because. And you're like, but why? Sorry, it's not B, it's C actually. It's C, 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 C. And then C says, because I'm your father. And so you're like, oh, Dad, come on, please. And C says, ask your mother. End of the conversation. Okay. In conclusion, no, you cannot go to the party. Yeah. So you are asking for permission to go to the party. Ustedes están pidiendo permiso para ir a una fiesta. Sí, le preguntan a la mamá, mamá, ¿puedo ir a la fiesta? No. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué no? ¿Por qué no? Porque yo soy su mamá. Punto. Va a preguntarle a su papá. Papá, ¿puedo ir a la fiesta? No. ¿Por qué? Porque no. ¿Pero por qué no? Porque yo soy su papá. Papá, por favor, vaya a preguntarle a su mamá. En conclusión, no va, no sale. You got no permission to go to the party, period. Okay, y vaya y lave los platos. Good. So that's how you use can for permission. Okay. So again, this is a modal verb, can. Can. That goes along with modal verb, with the main verb in the sentence. Yeah, but because this is a question, well, the order changes. Can I go to the party, please? Again, can I go to the party, please? Good. Here is another example. My little niece can go to the cinema alone yet because she is only 9 years old. Okay, so my little niece can't go to the cinema alone yet because she is only 9 years old. Okay, so she ain't got no permission to do something like that. Now, the next pair of modal verbs that we're going to be dealing with is actually a semi-modal verb, which is have to and don't have to. And we have to be really careful here because, well, there might be some sort of confusion if we think it in Spanish, okay? So I have been telling you, remember, this is a process at the beginning. We, at the beginning, we kind of translate unconsciously. We tend to say things that are related to Spanish somehow, but then little by little, we have to detach from Spanish. In this case, it's very important that we leave Spanish aside and that we do not think of this the same way we think about it in Spanish, okay? So have to and don't have to. This is a semi-modal verb that is used to talk about obligation, meaning those things I have to do, and no obligation, meaning those things I don't have to do. Okay, so let me give you some examples. Have to. Like as a teacher, I have to prepare my lessons, my classes. I have to design teaching educational material. I have to mark exams. I have to attend meetings, etc. Okay, so these are some of my duties as a teacher. Have to, and have to. Notice that the two is part of the model. That's why we call it a semi-model. And we have the main verb, prepare, design, mark, attend, etc. If it's for a third person subject, so you can say something like she has to teach in the morning shift. She has to teach in the morning shift. In that case, the have changes to has, to, and then teach. Okay, she has to teach in the morning shift. Okay, now on the contrary, we have don't have to. And once again, it's important that you do not think in Spanish in this case. Okay, now don't have to refers to those things you are not obliged to do. Okay, those things you are not obliged to do, but it means that there isn't a rule, yeah, or there isn't an authority that tells you, hey, you have to do this, or you can't do this, because don't have to and can are different. Okay, now for example, in my case, I don't have to go to university. I don't have to go to university on Sundays. I don't have to go to university on Sundays. Why? Well, because my working schedule is from Monday to Saturday. Yeah, Sundays are not included there. So I'm not obliged to do it. It's not one of my duties, it's not one of my responsibilities. Yeah. At home, well, I don't have to walk the dog. Yeah, I don't have to walk the dog. Well, because I don't have a dog. No, just kidding. I don't have to walk the dog. Okay, it's not my duty. It's my sister's duty. So she is the one who has to walk the dog. Instead, I have to cook lunch. I have to cook breakfast. I have to cook dinner. I have to do other stuff. Yeah, my sister has to walk the dog. It's not one of my duties. It's not one of my responsibilities. And here is another example. She doesn't have to see patients at night. Okay, she doesn't have to see patients at night because she works in the morning shift, and in the afternoon shift she doesn't work at night or in the evening. Okay, so here don't have to, again, expresses no obligation of something. Don't have to or doesn't have to. And well, the base form is the verb go, walk, and see.
Teacher,
okay, yes, Elkin.
I have one question.
Shoot it.
I can use don't have to, or I can use haven't. What is the difference?
That's different. That's completely different. Haven't is have not got. It's like to talk about possession. Yeah, I haven't got a cat. I have got a dog. That's different. Okay, so have got and haven't got is for possession, which is tener or no tener. ¿Ya? Tener de posesión, de que algo me pertenece, no de tener que hacer algo o no tener que hacer algo. Okay, so have got is the same as have, which is for possession.
And then
haven't got, yes, is
respective possession, don't have got is the same of
No, don't have got is not possible.
don't have
Don't have is the same as having got.
or having. Okay.
That's correct. It is also possible to say has got, has, which is for third person subjects. And it is also possible in the same spirit to say hasn't got and doesn't have, which is for possession. Okay, but they are different from have to and don't have to. So this one is about the one that we are studying today. It's a modal verb, a semi-modal actually, that is used to talk about obligation and no obligation, right? The other one, the one you asked about, is for possession, which is different. Julian, you have a question? I saw you raising your hand.
No, thank you.
Okay, great, sure thing. Good, you got it?
Yes, teacher, thank you.
Okay, sure thing. My pleasure. Don't worry. I understand that sometimes this might be a little bit, just a little bit confusing, but don't worry. We will get to see some examples. So I want to show you a video about have to and don't have to. Then we will practice, and then we will be doing some other activities, have to and don't have to. Well, there is another one that is must, which is also for obligation, but let us just go for the have to thing. Bien, aquí en este video vamos a ver otra posibilidad que es must. ¿Listo? Pero tratemos de no prestarle mucha atención al must, sino al have to.
Hello and welcome to today's grammar game show. I'm your host, Will, but I'm no has-been. And of course, let's not forget Leslie, our all-knowing voice in the sky.
Hello, everyone.
Tonight we're going to ask you 3 questions about
have to and must. Those 2 little expressions that are to do with obligation and make all the rules.
Okay, now let's meet our contestants.
Hi everyone, I'm Simone.
And contestant number 2?
Hello everyone, I'm Maya.
Welcome back, Maya. Okay, let's get going, and don't forget, you can play along at home too. Our first question is multiple choice. Which of these uses of have to and must is different from the others? A. You must wear your seatbelt. B. You have to wear your seatbelt. C. You mustn't wear your seatbelt. D. You don't have to wear your seatbelt.
D is different because it describes a voluntary action.
Leslie?
You're not wrong there, Simone. Must, mustn't, and have to all talk about obligations. For example, rules that you need to follow. But don't have to is the opposite. The actions it describes are voluntary, such as Will doesn't have to give anyone any points. He's the boss.
True, but since I'm nice, Simone, you can have 2 points. And Maya, I liked your thinking face there. 2 points to you.
Hang on, that's not fair. Why?
Fingers on the buzzers. Here comes question 2. True or false? There is no difference between have to and must for obligations.
False.
Leslie?
It is false. Although many use them interchangeably, in fact, we use have to for external obligations and must for internal obligations.
Okay, 1 point for that. Now for the quick fire part. Based on what Leslie has just told us, tell me if these obligations would take have to or must. You decide not to smoke.
I mustn't smoke.
Correct.
The government wants you to pay your taxes.
We have to pay taxes.
Correct.
You don't want to exercise, but the doctor tells you to.
I have to exercise.
Correct.
You want to brush your teeth more.
I must brush my teeth more.
Correct.
You try to resist eating chocolate.
I mustn't eat chocolate.
Correct.
Your parents tell you to do homework.
I have to do homework.
Correct.
Well done, both of you. Have 13 points between you. It's time for our final question. Must and have to are modal verbs. But why is have to different from other modal verbs?
Trick question. All modal verbs are followed by a bare infinitive verb, so there is no difference.
Leslie?
It is true that all modals, including must and have to, are followed by a bare infinitive. But that's not our answer.
Ouch! Ooh, Simone, you crashed and burned there. Maya, I can offer it to you.
Is it because modal verbs don't change their form, but have to does?
Leslie?
Absolutely right! Unlike other modal verbs, have to changes to show person, for example, have to, has to, and time, for example, had to, didn't have to. Its meaning doesn't change, though.
Good job, Maya. You know, I'm taking 20 points away from Simone for stupidity and giving them to you.
Ooh.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's grammar game show. Let's count out the points. And the winner is Maya with 37.5. Well done. Here's what you've won.
It's a cuddly toy!
You finally got a friend. We'll see you again next week where you can play for an even bigger prize. And Simone, what happened? You were doing so well.
Well, to be honest,
Unleash the sheep. It looks like we'll need another contestant. Thanks for joining us. Say goodbye, Leslie.
Goodbye, Leslie.
See you next time.
Good. Okay. There we go. Now remember that we're not interested in must. We were interested in have to and don't have to. Now, let's go back to the book. On the book, we've got some exercises for us to practice. So please open your books to page 26. There on page 26, there is a reading activity for us to practice should and shouldn't. Okay, so here's the situation. There is a girl named Alice who is having difficulties when it comes to studying, or at least she's preparing for final exams or something. So she wants to receive some advice. Okay, and the idea is for us to answer these two questions. Why is Alice asking for advice? And what advice do people give her? Okay, these two questions are the ones we're going to answer based on this reading. So I will read it for you, and then you will have some time to answer these two questions. So, question, how can I revise effectively? Help! I have some important exam next week and I'm studying 12 hours a day. The problem is It's difficult to concentrate. What should I do? Thank you, Alice. So these are the responses or the tips or the pieces of advice that some people give her. For example, Will, you should find a study buddy, someone who is studying for the same exam. It's usually more fun when you have someone to talk to about your studies. Why don't you revise together and then test each other? Molly, you shouldn't study for so many hours. 12 hours a day is too much. Try working not stop for an hour and then have a break. Then work for another hour and have another break, and so on. And you should give yourself a reward at the end of the day. You should make a revision time. That's Molly's advice. And this is Sam's advice. You should make a revision timetable and make sure you include lots of variety. You should start with a difficult subject, then do an easier subject, and you shouldn't always revise in the same place. Why don't you start at your desk and then move to a different room? Good. So those are the pieces of advice that people give Alice in her situation. Okay, so please take some minutes to answer these two questions, simple questions, and then we will be checking the answers together. If you have questions about the questions or if you have doubts, please let me know. I'm going to be here. Okay, let's check the answers together as a whole class. So question number 1 was, why is Alice asking for advice?
Because she has a difficult to concentrate.
She has concentration problems. She finds it difficult to concentrate. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Now, question number 2, what advice do people give her?
Take a rest and find a study buddy. Study
Okay.
buddy. Study buddy.
Take a rest and find a study buddy. What else?
And take a break between between any hours, each hours.
Okay, so take regular breaks. Okay. What else?
Study different
Start.
topics, maybe a difficult topic and then a easy topic for keep the brain rest.
Okay, maybe try some interactivity. Okay, great. What else? Let's see the chat.
And
okay, planning.
And take a reward at the end of the day.
Okay, it's important to praise yourself, to congratulate ourselves, because studying, it's a challenging thing. So it's important when we achieve our studies and learning objectives, it's important to congratulate us, to give us a prize at the end of the day. That's self-motivation. Great, perfect. Anything else that maybe you would like to add to this question? No?
Maybe change the place where she study.
Okay.
Because it's better to keep the mind in other things and don't think a lot of the problems or if the study is hard.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Kainer. So try to find like a suitable place, ambience to study, like a relaxing atmosphere, far from distractions and so on. Thank you. Jeanette says, move her just to a different room. It happens, for example, during the pandemic. Of course, we had lockdowns and we had to stay home. We couldn't go out. And sometimes there are many people living in the same place. So it was kind of difficult to be working and studying at the same time. So maybe moving your desk, if possible, to a different room where you can concentrate and where you can study. Great. Now, together, let's take a look at this list of activities or things about the previous situation. So it says, read the list of things some other people do during their study time. Decide which of them you should or shouldn't do. Now, this is very subjective, okay? But let's take a look at that. Why? Why do I say subjective? Because, for example, for some people, it is easier to study if they listen to loud music. Sometimes I need to listen to loud music in order to study, but some other times I need like a really quiet place with no people at all, because I need a lot of concentration. But other times when, for example, I am sleepy or I'm tired, I need loud music to keep me awake, and that way it helps me concentrate. So let's see, you tell me. Send text messages to your friends. Do you think you should do that while you're studying or not? Should or shouldn't?
We shouldn't.
Okay, so we shouldn't send text messages to friends when studying. What about listening to loud music?
Shouldn't.
Okay. Okay, shouldn't. Maybe some of you might say that should. Make a list of things to do. Should or shouldn't?
Should.
We should.
Okay, yeah, it's important to plan. Sometimes we have many things to do that we don't even know where to start. And it's like, ¿por dónde empiezo? por el comienzo. Ay, gracias, no lo había pensado. Yeah, you have so many things to do that you don't even know where to start. So it's important. That is something that they do in industrial processes, if I'm not mistaken. We have to decide the important and what is immediate. It's like lo importante y lo que es inmediato, something like that. So we have to make the distinction between important things and immediate things, because sometimes important things are not immediate things, right? And vice versa. A veces lo importante no es lo inmediato. So we have to plan, okay? See what's immediate, what's for today, what's for tomorrow, what's for the day after tomorrow, what's for next month, and so on. I think it's also with the planning process. Yeah, but that's something different. Great. So now find somewhere quiet to study. Should or shouldn't?
We should.
Should.
Okay. Watch TV.
Shouldn't.
Shouldn't. Shouldn't.
Okay. Start work as early as possible.
Should.
Should.
Okay. Should or shouldn't, but remember, you were reading about short sleepers and long sleepers, and in the same fashion, we have early birds and night owls. Now, an early bird is a person who feels more comfortable doing things and working and studying early in the morning. For some people, they cannot wake up early in the morning. So they prefer to study late in the evening or work late in the evening. But I think this one refers more to not procrastinating thing, okay? Creo que este se refiere más a no procrastinar, okay? So procrastination, it's one of the enemies. Procrastination. It's definitely one of the enemies when it comes to studying and when it comes to working. So I think this one refers to do not wait until the 11th hour. That's another expression in English. Don't wait until the 11th hour. It means in Spanish, like, no esperes hasta el final. Yeah, we sometimes, our Colombian culture sometimes is like this, you know, we wait until the very last moment of everything to start doing things. But it is a good idea not to leave everything for the end. So start work as early as possible. Should, definitely should. Now, take breaks sometimes. Should or shouldn't?
Should.
Should. Like some of you said, we have to let our brains rest. It's important that our brain rest. It's important that we get some sleep. When we get sleep, our brains can actually be nurtured. On the contrary, if we don't sleep, they're going to be affected, negatively affected. And we have got Alzheimer's disease, dementia, early dementia, and some other pathologies associated. Great. Use social networking sites. Should or shouldn't?
Shouldn't.
Should, yes, because they are sometimes a distraction, okay? I mean, if you require lots of concentration, I don't think it's a good idea to use social networking sites. Great. Thank you very much, everybody, for your participation. Now, there is a short video about studying that maybe could work for you. I'm sure that maybe some of you already know about this technique, which is known as the Pomodoro technique when it comes to studying. It's a 2-minute video. Let's watch it. And then we will continue with some more practice, but this time based on the other modal verbs.
Hi everyone, it's Yanis here, and in this video we will explore what is the Pomodoro technique. If you want to improve your focus, then this technique might be exactly what you need to try before looking any further. If this is your first time on this channel, then make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon to get updates on my latest videos about time management and productivity. The Pomodoro technique is a time management method developed by Francesco Cirillo in the late 1980s. The technique uses a timer to break down work into intervals, traditionally 25 minutes in length, separated by a short break. Each interval is known as Pomodoro, from the Italian word for tomato. Here are the steps that you have to follow if you want to improve your focus and concentration following the Pomodoro technique. Step 1. Choose the task. This will give you one focus point where you will be directing all your attention. Step 2. Set timer. Set your timer for 25 minutes. Make sure that you close all unnecessary tabs on your computer and turn on Do Not Disturb mode on your phone. Step 3. Focus. Here you do one thing only. Work on the chosen task until you hear the sound of the timer. If you do get distracted by your thought or something else, then write it down on a piece of paper and get back to the work. For this reason, I like to keep my journal handy. Step 4. Take a 5-minute break. Once the 25 minutes are over, you have to take a quick and refreshing break. Step 5. Repeat. After the break, you repeat all the steps again to get another 25 minutes of focused work done. You repeat this process 4 times and then have a longer break of 20 minutes. And that is a whole process of using the Pomodoro technique to improve your focus and concentration. I hope that you enjoyed this video and I was able to give you a quick overview of what Pomodoro technique is and how you can use it to improve your focus. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you could press the like button, as this will help the video reach more people and spread the message.
There you go. So it's a technique that might work for you. When it comes to studying, for example, well, I do prefer to study in the morning, very early in the morning. Like I wake up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and I do prefer to study at that time. Of course, if I have slept 8 hours, but I can't, sometimes I also prefer to stay up the whole night and study and work. It all depends on my mood, and it all depends on the energies that I have. So in my case, you know, I can't study in different shifts, but I do prefer the morning shift. It's easier for me because your brain is rested and it's fresh. Oh, I closed the book. Okay, let's go for the other 2 modal verbs. Those ones are about can't, have to, and don't have to. Yeah, let's go straight to the point. Now here we have an activity about unusual jobs. This one in particular is called Ghost Tours, learn about the scary history of the old town. So what's the idea? In this listening activity, because this is a listening activity, it is combined. So it's about an unusual job, but it's also about modal verbs like should, shouldn't, can, can't, have to, and don't have to, etc. So based on the recording, we're going to be working on a different what happened to the book? What? Is there a hyperlink there? Oh my God, there is a hyperlink hidden in the book. Oh, it actually works. No sabía que este hipervínculo en el libro funcionaba. Well, you always find new things. So ghost tours, learn about the scary history of the old town. Daily guided walking tours every night at 7 p.m. Call for reservations 0131-344-34341. Now, what's the idea? It says, you're going to listen to an interview with Christy about her job. Listen to the first part of the interview and answer the questions. And at the same time, listen to the second part of the interview and number the things Kirsty talks about in the order you hear them. So first answer these 2 questions. What is Kirsty's job? Which city or cities does she work in? And then organize these statements that are given in letters from A to G based on the order in which you hear them. All right. So I'll be playing the recordings and then we will be checking together. This is on page 27. Just a second. I have to open the other book to play the recording.
Unit 3, Recording 2. So, Kirsty, you live and work in Edinburgh. You've got quite an unusual job, is that right?
Yes, well, that's right. It's unusual partly because I sometimes work at night, but mostly because part of my job is to scare people.
That is unusual.
The thing is, I'm a tour guide, but I'm not the usual type. I'm a ghost tour guide, so I show people the haunted places all around Edinburgh.
The haunted places?
Yes, the places where people say there are ghosts, like the castle and old buildings. You know, there is a lot of old history in Edinburgh. Some of it is quite scary, but very interesting and exciting too.
Unit 3, Recording 2. So, Kirsty, you live and work in Edinburgh. You've got quite an unusual job, is that right?
Yes, well, that's right. It's unusual partly because I sometimes work at night, but mostly because part of my job is to scare people.
That is unusual.
The thing is, I'm a tour guide, but I'm not the usual type. I'm a ghost tour guide, so I show people the haunted places all around Edinburgh.
The haunted places?
Yes, the places where people say there are ghosts, like the castle and old buildings. You know, there is a lot of old history in Edinburgh. Some of it is quite scary, but very interesting and exciting too.
So first question, what is Kirsty's job?
Scoring people.
Tourist guide.
Okay,
Tour
she's a tour guide.
Tour guide.
But what does she do? Is it like a
Scare
regular?
people.
She scares people. She's a tour guide, but she scares people. Great. I mean, imagine being paid for scaring people. That'd be cool. Which city or cities does she work in?
In
Edinburgh.
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 The ghost tour guide, that is correct, Natalia. Perfect. Silvia. Great. Yeah, let me find an emoji. There are some phantom emojis. Oh no, they are different here. Okay, but yeah, that's ghost tour guide. Edinburgh, yes, indeed. Edinburgh is where she look, there is a zombie there. Yeah, so I gotta be Kirsty's. Good. Now, let's listen to the second part of the interview and number the things Kirsty talks about in the order you hear them. These are the different statements. Languages that Kirsty speaks, Kirsty's favorite tour, clothes you wear for the job, qualifications you need for the job, personal qualities you need for the job, real ghosts Kirsty has seen or heard, types of visitors who come on the tours, and that's it. So numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 1 is given to you as an example, qualifications you need for the job. So you just have to write the numbers in the correct order as you hear them. Let's check.
Unit 3, Recording 3. So, how did you get the job?
Well, I'm really interested in history and, well, I found out about this company. You don't have to have any special qualifications, but I think an interest in history is important, and you have to have a good memory. I can remember dates and other facts easily, so it's not a problem for me.
What other qualities do you think are useful?
I think you have to be a good storyteller and a good actor. I mean, you have to try and bring the history alive. I don't just talk about it. I try to get the visitors to become part of the history and really believe it.
So, do you have to wear a uniform or special clothes?
Well, no, I don't have to wear a uniform, but I wear special clothes from that period of history. Again, it's part of the acting to make it all as real as possible.
What's your favourite tour?
Well, I think my favourite is the tour we do at night. It's especially scary at night because there are some parts of the tour where we turn out all the lights. It's completely dark. You can't see anything at all. There are all sorts of noises. Some visitors get very scared, but they all love it. It's very exciting.
What kind of visitors generally come on these ghost tours?
All kinds of people. A lot of children and young people, obviously, but lots of older people too. Local people, and also a lot of foreign visitors from Europe, America, Asia, all over the world, really.
Can you speak any other languages apart from English?
Yes, I can speak French and Spanish, so sometimes I translate parts of my tour for visitors who speak those languages, but mostly it's in English. Unfortunately, I can't speak Japanese. That would be very useful, as a lot of our visitors are from Japan.
And finally, are there any real ghosts? I mean, have you ever seen one?
Well, no, I haven't seen a ghost, but I think I've heard one.
Really? You've heard a ghost? Who? Which one?
Well, it's a dog. A famous dog in Edinburgh called Greyfriars Bobby. He died in 1872 after sitting by his owner's grave for 14 years. After his owner died, the dog sat by the grave every day for 14 years. I'm sure I heard the ghost of that dog.
That's amazing. Your job sounds fascinating. Thank you so much.
Listen again for the second time.
Unit 3, Recording 3.
So, how did you get the job?
Well, I'm really interested in history and, well, I found out about this company. You don't have to have any special qualifications, but I think an interest in history is important, and you have to have a good memory. I can remember dates and other facts easily, so it's not a problem for me.
What other qualities do you think are useful?
I think you have to be a good storyteller and a good actor. I mean, you have to try and bring the history alive. I don't just talk about it. I try to get the visitors to become part of the history and really believe it.
So, do you have to wear a uniform or special clothes?
Well, no, I don't have to wear a uniform, but I wear special clothes from that period of history. Again, it's part of the acting to make it all as real as possible.
What's your favourite tour?
Well, I think my favourite is the tour we do at night. It's especially scary at night because there are some parts of the tour where we turn out all the lights. It's completely dark. You can't see anything at all. There are all sorts of noises. Some visitors get very scared, but they all love it. It's very exciting.
What kind of visitors generally come on these ghost tours?
All kinds of people. A lot of children and young people, obviously, but lots of older people too. Local people, and also a lot of foreign visitors from Europe, America, Asia, all over the world, really.
Can you speak any other languages apart from English?
Yes, I can speak French and Spanish, so sometimes I translate parts of my tour for visitors who speak those languages, but mostly it's in English. Unfortunately, I can't speak Japanese. That would be very useful, as a lot of our visitors are from Japan.
And finally, are there any real ghosts? I mean, have you ever seen one?
Well, no, I haven't seen a ghost, but I think I've heard one.
Really? You've heard a ghost? Who? Which one?
Well, it's a dog. A famous dog in Edinburgh called Greyfriars Bobby. He died in 1872 after sitting by his owner's grave for 14 years. After his owner died, the dog sat by the grave every day for 14 years. I'm sure I heard the ghost of that dog.
That's amazing. Your job sounds fascinating. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's check. Number one is qualifications you need for the job. What about number two? Number one, qualifications you need for the job. That's D.
Personal qualities you need for the job.
Number two is E. Personal qualities you need for the job. Correct. What about number three?
Clothes.
Clothes
you
C.
Clothes you wear for the job.
That's
For the
correct.
job,
So
yes.
number three is C. Clothes you wear for the job. What about number four?
Christy's favorite tour.
Christy's favorite
Uh-huh.
tour.
Christy's favorite tour.
That's correct. B. Kirsty's favorite tour. Number five.
Types of
G.
visitors who
Types
come
of
on
visitors
the
who
tours.
come on the tours.
That is correct. G. Types of visitors who come on the tours. So that's number five. Number six.
A. Language that Christy speaks.
That is correct. The languages that Kirsty speaks. Last but not least, number seven is
F. Real ghost Christy has seen.
Ghost Christy has seen.
That is correct. Perfect. Thank you very much. Good job, everybody. Now, to finish, well, here we were asked to complete can, have to, and don't have to. It's based on the recording too, but we don't need it, you know, based on what we studied today, we can do it. Can, have to, don't have to. So let's do it together right away. Complete the sentences with this. Number one, you have any special qualifications?
You sure?
No, the instruction is can't, have to, don't have to. And the answer, yes, is you don't have to have any special qualifications. You don't have to have any special qualifications. Number two.
You haven't to? You have to?
You have to.
You have to be a good storyteller. Number three.
I can speak French.
I can speak Spanish. Christy can speak French, Spanish, and English, of course. And four, you
can't
see anything at all. Right, that is correct. Now, if you want extra practice, you can check the grammar review. But I wanted to finish today's class because we were talking, tomorrow you will talk about tomorrow you will talk about jobs. And I have a short video for you about unusual jobs. Okay, there are some jobs on the book, but this short video, it's about unusual jobs. Okay, it's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, that's it. And then we will just finish with today's class. No, it's actually 4 minutes, but it's interesting. Don't worry, if you need to leave, just log out. I will stop with the class as soon as the video finishes. But if you have to leave, it's okay. Don't worry, I understand.
Okay, teacher, I will leave and see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Have you ever heard of a job title and automatically wondered if it's a real thing? So have we. So we decided to put together a list of the strangest jobs out there with information on what the job entails and how much they could potentially make. If you want to be blown away, keep watching. Number 1, pet psychologist. Earnings $69,000 per year. Pet psychologists aren't as similar to therapists for humans, so don't imagine a pet sat on the couch while being psychoanalyzed. No matter how amusing that may be, a pet psychologist is actually tasked with monitoring a pet's behavior and identifying its triggers. They then advise pet owners how to correct problematic and destructive behaviors. Number 2, professional cure. Salary can vary. If you don't mind camping out or standing in the rain for hours on end, then you could become a professional cure. You'll be hired to stand in line and wait for a product release or a store to open for someone else. Professional cures can charge what they like. Someone once paid a cure $12,000 to stand in line for an iPhone launch. Number 3, cat catcher. Earnings $80 per cat. If you're a cat owner, then you will know the struggle of trying to get a cat into a pet carrier, which is where these professionals come in. A cat catcher is hired to literally get your cat into a carrier, leaving you scratch-free. Number 4, bed warmer. Earnings $89 per night. Another bizarre role includes warming up people's sheets before they get into bed at night to ensure their bed is nice and toasty. Hotels have even caught on to this trend, with Holiday Inn offering a free 5-minute bed warming session to guests. Number 5, live mannequin. Earnings $100 an hour. Were you good at playing musical statues as a kid? If yes, then you could excel as a live mannequin. People are hired to stand as still as possible in shop windows to show off the latest fashion trends. Number 6, fake wedding guest. Earnings $200 per event. Yes, this is actually a thing. People hire phonies to step in as wedding guests when their numbers are looking low. You'll be hired to step in and pretend like you know the happy couple while participating in the day's events. Number 7, professional bridesmaid. Earnings $1,500. Some people also step in as a bridesmaid in times of need. These professionals are hired to keep other bridesmaids in check and ensure that everything runs smoothly. They may also take on the role of an event planner for an additional fee. Number 8, dog food tester. Earnings $27,500. People are hired to test dog food to make sure they are tasty, nutritious, and safe for their furry friends. If you love your pet that much and don't mind eating jellied meat, then you could earn up to $30,000 a year. Number 9, crisp inspector. Earnings $50,000 per year. Can you think of a more perfect job? Eating crisps for a living is actually a thing. You can spend your days analyzing the size, shape, and taste of crisps to ensure that they are of the finest quality. Number 10, water slide tester. Earnings $27,500 per year. Another fun job includes testing water slides. You'll literally be tasked with rating slides based on their speed, adrenaline levels, and even how much they splash. The best part? You'll get paid to do it. As you can see, there are plenty of wacky jobs that might be worth pursuing. If you're looking for more ideas, head over to careeraddict.com. Unsure of which career path to follow? Why not take our career test to find out? At Career Hunter, we use a cutting-edge algorithm to assess your interests, motivations, and abilities to match you to suitable careers. Use the link in the description below to try the Career Interests test for free. And don't forget to like the video and click on the subscribe button to get more insightful tips.
Okay, so that'll be all for tonight. I hope that you learned a lot and that you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you so much for your attention and for your participation. We will continue tomorrow with some more activities. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, teacher. Bye-bye.
Teacher, thank you.
My pleasure.
Teacher, have a
Good
night.
night.
Tomorrow.
You too. Thank you very much. Sleep tight, everybody. Night-night. Sweet dreams.